Hey, hello everyone. A little bit better setup this time. Got BB-8 sort of chilling with me back here. This is Nathan P. Butler of Star Wars Beyond the Films, the Star Wars Report's Rebels Roundtable, both of which you can find at StarWarsReport.com, and the Star Wars Timeline Gold, which of course you can find over at StarWarsFanWars.com/timeline here. Doing some quick final thoughts on Star Wars, and the cat is meowing behind me. Hello, cat. Yes. Good, yeah. Some final thoughts here. See, it's live, not like a podcast. Some final thoughts here on the Star Wars Battlefront beta here in early to mid-October of 2015. This, of course, is not a full game. It is just a beta, sort of a glorified demo in this case. When it comes to the different options here, of course, we have multiplayer and we have missions. Now, missions are going to be things that are designed for single-player or two-player, but not really campaign missions. Remember, they're telling us, well, players of Battlefront don't want campaigns, and lots of people out there are turning to those who want a campaign, want a story in Battlefront, and bitching at us saying, hey, this is Battlefront. Battlefront doesn't have a story. Didn't you play the previous games? My answer is yes. Did you? Yeah, Battlefront 1 and 2 didn't really have much of a story, but their scenarios had story frameworks to them, and if you had a PSP, I have a PSP Go, I'm one of those sad people here. If you have a PSP, you played Battlefront Renegade Squadron, which had a story, a fairly cool story with Cole Sarah and Renegade Squadron. If you played Elite Squadron on the PSP or maybe on the DS, that had not only a story to it, it was a story that interweaved between the two platforms to give you the whole story, and based on what we saw coming out with those drips and drabs of the different little bits and pieces of Battlefront 3 for consoles before it was canceled, Battlefront 3 was supposed to be that story between X1 and X2, the two clones of Jedi Fallon Gray back during the Clone Wars leading up into the era after that. So it certainly would appear that Battlefront games can have a story, just not this one. Okay, so when we go to missions, these are two-player and one-player things. You have training. Training doesn't exist yet, but training is basically going to wind up being a tutorial series, more or less. Battles, fight against a friend or the AI. You'll be able to play essentially one-on-one. You can play working together against AI-controlled enemies. You can play with the heroes of the game, like Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, and such. Just depends on what scenario you choose. And we have, for this time, survival, right, for the beta. Survival is wave after wave after wave. We have survival on Tatooine, on Sullust, on Endor, and on Hoth. Maps that we have seen except for Endor in this beta, albeit probably different variants of those same settings here. We're going to check out Survival Tatooine first. And of course, you got to connect to your EA account. Connecting again. Tends to be that anytime I'm live streaming, it drops me out and I have to connect again. Anytime that I'm doing just a regular play, it doesn't do the disconnect, reconnect type of thing. So connecting, and there we go. All right. Okay. We only have one difficulty we can choose in the beta. That is normal. You can't choose hard or master. We have single player. We have partner. We have online co-op or partner/split screen with local co-op. We're going to go into it single player this time around. The split screen, by the way, is horizontal split screen. So you get your horizontal view for one player, horizontal view from the other. Okay, it's not split into the two left and right halves of the screen here. All right, so the idea here, again, is that, well, there was an Imperial attack, there's an escape pod that is dropped, you're in it, Admiral Akbar is trying to get a rescue operation to you, but you got to hold off the Imperials along the way. Something you can explain over and over again to the people around you while you're playing, given how long the load times are on the beta. You can go in and choose your different weapons. If you have different weapons unlocked, you can go in and choose your so-called hands, your power-ups, basically, that you can choose in groups of 3. The one in the middle there is one that requires you to pick up charges. The other ones are just L1, R1 type things here on the controller, or both to activate the one in the center that requires the charge. We're just going to go with the default hand.
Not my best landing.
I say it almost looks like the beginning of A New Hope, except the ship just got blown the hell out of the sky. So, not so much. So here we are on Tatooine with some very fast-moving stormtroopers. And a brief skip there, it seems. And here we are on the Tatooine map. Tatooine map, I mean, again, the rocks look gorgeous. Like real rocks.
But it looks like the Empire will be too fast.
So you're saying it's a trap?
It's a trap, or something similar.
Here we are. Notice it will tell you how many enemies there are up there at the top. Tell you what wave it is. This is 1 out of 6. The actual full game says it will have 15 waves at least. Little hearts there at the top representing how many lives you have left. Notice there on the map down at the bottom, it's telling you sort of what the shape is of the landscape, and you get these little indicators on the edges, very light, to tell you where the enemy is. Dead, dead. So now we're down to 4 enemies. Whoa! There they are. I'm just playing one player, homie. Whoa. Got another one apparently above me or somewhere close. Moving their way around here. There's a jetpack action there. Well, where the heck are they? Again, that's the downside of this little mini-map / compass thing in the corner. It's really difficult to tell what it's trying to tell you. It's just not a very well done setup there. It's similar to as if it's trying to emulate Destiny, but without the precision of Destiny's map. Kind of got to just stand there and say, oh, well, I'm being shot at. Maybe that'll actually tell me where the bad guys are. Oh, look, you're right freaking there. And here comes his buddy. No indicators over the head, no dots on the map to indicate that they're there. The only dots that show up are for vehicles, and that in and of itself, again, kind of frustrating. Alright, so, let's see. Heroes have entered the area. Alright, again. Each wave is adding a different type of enemy, or at least as waves go on, you get more types of enemies appearing. There's the Empire over there, the Imperials. I do like the fact that there's the destructible terrain. So you may be hiding behind something only to realize moments later that it's been blasted. That guy stumbling, sort of grabbing his helmet, very nice. I mean, it's done in a way that is visually, I think it's interesting in the sense of the animations. It's interesting in that the character designs are very authentic. It's almost photorealistic in what you're seeing as far as the rocks and everything. But as I've said before, just looking at this Tatooine map, there's really not much to see. There's stuff like this, but that's about it. I mean, what is there to really gain our attention and make us interested, as I'm stuck on the ground apparently, in this scenery? It's just, it's this bizarre blending of extremely gorgeous and ridiculously dull at the same time. It's frustrating, to say the least, to see that. Here's our ATST coming in. As I wait for the pod that I am defending to get fully defended. I should probably make it a point to go get myself a charge over here, so I can use my special weapon there that requires a charge, the one that it says hold triangle. So, there we go. Try not to jump off the edge like an idiot. Pod has been defended, so the pod should have a bunch of power-ups that just dropped, hence those little things telling me distance. What do we have? What do we have? What do we have? Anything good? Anything good? Proximity bomb. Okie day. No, that didn't do me any good. What else we got over here? Anything? 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 What's good? What's good? Orbital strike. That'll be helpful. Orbital strike? Hello? Alright, so much for that. Another orbital strike. Let's try this again. Orbital strike, I've yet to really get the hang of what exactly it is I'm supposed to be doing with it. Okay, here we go again. Aiming. There we go. There we go. Boom! There we go. Screw trying to take it on hand to hand. That was just pure luck, though. I usually don't get an orbital strike as one of those power-ups, so, you know, awesome, but at the same time, luck of the draw. Imperial? Imperial snipers? What? Speaking of sniping. The snipers apparently are the biker scouts, or the scout troopers. Notice I'm not having to reload. That is one cool thing about this that is Star Wars centric. Basically, as I shoot, it heats up, very much like a turret in many games. And if it heats up too much, I won't be able to shoot, like so. And if I press the square button, it's like I move my hand away, I'm like, oh, it's hot! And then back to normal. Pick up some more charges in case I need those. Watch out for jump troopers. Of course, the Force Unleashed made them kind of infamous. Flying around with their little shields and everything. Hit them just right, they will go whee and explode, which is the same here as it was there. Got a heart up here. It shows up on my map. This is an extra life. Ka-ching! Haven't needed one yet, but I assume that it'd be something that would be probably necessary when I'm playing through 15 waves as opposed to playing through just 6. Blast them, blast them, blast them. Well, it would help if I grab the right one. Grenades. So again, I mean, it looks great. You have the Mon Cal cruiser up there in space. The animations for the characters look terrific. I do think you run a little bit too smoothly, and the bobbing back and forth could make you motion sick. You do have the option of going third person, and you can still sort of see that bobbing around. Come on, go into the air. Yeah, apparently they can use shields or fly. They don't have the option to use both. Wave 5 is done, Trebek. Eventually, when I do some live streaming, once the actual game is out, I'll have some other Star Wars podcasters joining me. Probably people like Michael Morris from Cloud City Casino. Probably Bobby/Robert Craig. Maybe even Caleb Furlow from the old Simple Tricks and Nonsense podcast. If you remember that one, that'll be pretty cool. This time, just kind of running it on my own to give you guys some details here. But that does mean we're only seeing the single-player version of this. Whoa, a little too far. Yeah. And I really do like the fact that you can switch back and forth seamlessly out of third person and first person. Although it is kind of annoying, I must say that you can't choose to stay in third person. It seems like when you die, you'll respawn in first person no matter what and have to manually change it over to third person. Again, not a huge deal, but something that would have been nice to be able to change in the settings. And maybe we will be able to. That was not something I found just playing with the settings, but it's not like I've been playing with the settings to some ridiculous degree. Alright. Now, unless there's an orbital strike, I'm going to need this sucker. It's essentially an ion gun. Must try not to die. How are you still not dead, son? Whee! You really got to get the hang of this thing. It's something that I really was frustrated by initially, and the regular jumps are just incredibly pansy, but I do like it now that I've actually had a chance to play around with it. That's us, just tapping down. Same thing, it'll switch your view. You can tap it and it'll switch shoulders. Run for cover, son! Alright, so we got the AT-AT still out there, so let's deploy that sucker. Let's see, squad shield? Nah. Squad shield is something that's just like a little bear, kind of like the Ward of Dawn in Destiny. And blaster cannon, not too shabby. Where'd he go, though? Oh, he's over on the other side. That's not doing me a whole heck of a lot of good. Oh, come on, hit him! Mother! It got blown up, but I can just slip inside my shield here. Switch to my ion-based gun. Get out of the shield. Blast him a little bit. Regular fire, and there he goes. He is gone. And that is all of Wave 6 at this point. Not too shabby. Again, says thank you for playing and so on, but broadly speaking, it is just a quick little one-player kind of deal. And we're going to briefly exit. I did hear a ding a moment ago. Let me make sure that we don't have somebody able to hop on and join us. Oh, maybe so. Oh, nope. Looks like he's not able to. So we'll jump on into the next bit here. We're going to look at multiplayer. So generally speaking, survival, it's wave after wave after wave, could get old really quickly, but the waves escalate in difficulty, very much like escalation in, say, the High Moon Studios Transformers games. It's like a horde mode, pretty much. Broadly speaking, it could be fun as single player, it could be fun doing co-op, but not really much in the way of story content. Hey, in that case, your pod crashed, we're coming to get you, defeat the Imperials to save your life until they get there. That's about it. For multiplayer, you have a lot of different modes here. We have Drop Zone, which is the one that is a little bit smaller in scale here, included in the beta. That is basically sort of capture and hold type of thing. Escape pods fall down, you run up to them, you're the first to grab it, you defend it for a certain amount of time until you get whatever is inside it. Walker Assault is much larger, simulating the Battle of Hoth. We'll take a look at that. It's a 40-player match as opposed to something that is a 16-player match. Supremacy, kind of like modes we've seen before. That I believe is the one where you're basically just going and grabbing capture points. Fighter Squadron is a starfighter and starship-based combat, but is predominantly in the atmosphere. It's not a space game this time. It is in the atmosphere. Then you got Blast, which, as I recall, I believe this is the one where it's basically one player is the hero, and the other players play just members of the opposing side, and you're trying to take out just the hero who's fighting by themselves. Cargo is going to be something where it's almost like a capture the flag. You go pick up the cargo, and you try to get it back to where it needs to go. And Droid Run is kind of like a mobile capture and hold. You're trying to protect certain droids that you're able to get your hands on, and presumably the droids are mobile because they are gonk droids, you know, gonk. Those things, not like little BB-8 who's a lot faster on his... Faster on your feet or faster on your ball? Assuming if I said faster on your balls, I'd probably be sued for sexual harassment. Anyway, so let's check out Drop Zone. Notice here that it does have all of your online friends listed up here. You can click on Invite to Party to set up party chat, at least on the PS4. And there's an option to pick a partner. If you're playing with somebody who's also playing the game, you can pick a partner, and when you spawn, you can spawn on that person instead of back at just a general spawn point, which is a helpful thing in general. So here we go. Drop Zone Sullust, the only Drop Zone one that is included here. As I said before, we don't really know why Sullust looks like this in canon, but of course it is not a hospitable world in what we've seen in the Legends continuity. We've seen it just a little bit in canon, and it does not appear to have much of a backstory to it in the game. It's just basically, hey, head on in. I have reached rank 5, that is the maximum in the beta, so I won't be gaining any more experience and leveling up as we do the live stream here. You have your star card hand with your different types. Okay, so we've got, in my case, Ion Grenade, Ion Shot, and Thermal Detonator. I can choose other cards if I like. I've got basically enough to buy a Personal Shield or a Sharpshooter. Let's just go with Personal Shield. Why not? Might as well try this one out here, since we just saw that Ion one a moment ago as I'm scratching my poor little eye. Okay, so we're going to choose Personal Shield instead. Why not? The cards are kind of what makes this interesting, your so-called hand. You do have challenges going on down there on the bottom left. How many enemies killed and so forth, just little things that you can do. Unlocks, goes back to the star cards, the different blasters, different weapons that you can unlock here to use. And your appearance you'll be able to customize in the final game. You cannot do that in the beta. Alright, so the match has started. Let's dive into this scenario here. Activate the escape pod to start claiming it. Defend the escape pod while it's being claimed. The side that claims the most escape pod wins. The side that claims the most escape pod, singular, wins.
Excuse me? Were you written by Chuck Wendig by chance? The man who thinks that basically any punctuation mark can become a period and writes in aftermath? No, apparently they just messed up there with their tense. Or tense, their number. Singular or plural. Alright, so we have start or partner start. When I do a partner start, even though this is not somebody that I've chosen as a partner, it'll just tend to pair you up.
Hey, well, apparently that person died. So we've got start or partner start. Let's just do a regular start then if that person just croaked. Alright, so this is Sullust. Again, really realistic looking, but not all that much in terms of interesting scenery, although this one is more interesting than Tatooine. Tatooine has very little. This one has more active stuff going on in space, too, as you can see up there, the ships amidst the battle. But what I find with this, the most interesting thing are the crashed starfighters, which you'll see here as I'm running around. So we run up to it, they've already taken it, now we've taken it back, basically hold down square, just like capturing in certain other game modes of other games, like, say, Salvage, for Destiny, and killed. There we go, partner start. So instead of just a general spawn point, I'm spawning on top of the person it is selected as my partner. If I'm playing this with somebody on purpose as my partner, then I'll spawn on them. That's going to be a huge, huge help in Walker Assault.
That escape pod is about to fall into Imperial hands.
There's our one of our crashed TIE fighters here. Love the crashed TIE fighters. There's also a crashed X-Wing. Oh! Jumping on his wings. Oh yeah! And great effects when it comes to like the explosions and whatnot. I mean, again, graphically, really, really realistic. Very true to life looking, so to speak. But you'll have some differences when it comes to just how interesting the different settings are. Alright, so here we go. No more playing around. Up! Run back! You don't have your jetpack, you moron! Yeah, I clicked the jetpack button from survival. That's what happens. My bad. There is run. You're walking versus running. You can do a melee attack, but you got to get really close. And generally, I find that the kills on this game are from pretty damn far away, a ridiculous distance far away, oftentimes. Go to third person here. Alright, so there it is. I can't believe I made that jump, given the fact that the jumps on this suck so bad. Die!
The Imperials are securing the area around that escape pod.
Crap nuggets! I would say shit nuggets, but, you know, crap nuggets if we're trying to be family friendly. Not really. There's another crash tie that looks gorgeous. Oh, dead. Partner start here. See, again, spawning on a person. Oh, who just acted as a human shield. Thank you very much. That is the... Oh, dead. It's that Gulf War strategy. Them Iraqi human shields. Yeah, now I can understand being able to do some measure of sniping. It's just the fact that it seems like every type of blaster has the ability to kill you from halfway across the entire battlefield, from blocks away. Which definitely makes the Walker Assault map kind of a pain in the ass. Yeah, so this one works fairly well. It would be nice if we had some type of marker on top of enemies. As I said, like when you get killed, it'll highlight them in red and tell you who killed you and show it up there on the side and tell you what weapon they killed you with and whatnot. But you don't have any way to really tell where the bad guys are as you're running. So if there's an enemy against the background and they are essentially camouflaged, you can't see them. Now granted, is that realistic? Yeah, it's realistic. But is it what we would expect from this type of game? Not necessarily. I would generally prefer to be able to tell where the hell the enemies are when I'm playing. A lot of games at least will put some type of marker on top of their head or something, even if it's only there when you actually are looking towards them. Or not do that and give you some type of mini-map that actually has a better marking system of where the enemy is. I mean, granted, you can tell here, but barely. That I'm kind of glad that this game has taken a different approach than some of the earlier Battlefront games, in that it's not simply a, well, each side has X number of troopers or X number of soldiers, and when they're all dead, it's over. It's actually objective based, because if it was when they're all dead, it's over, these would be some pretty fast freaking matches, because deaths come ridiculously frequently. In this case, it's partly because I'm not entirely paying attention to what I'm doing, but you can certainly see that when we look at Walker Assault and some of the ridiculous distances that you can be sniped from with a standard non-sniper type of blaster here. Notice so far, not really anything in the way of story content to this either. Woo! It's like your best way of making sure that you don't die isn't to kill them before they can kill you, it's to make sure there's somebody else near you so they can die first. Let them kill your buddies. Because, you know, that's the rebel way. It might be a stormtrooper way, but that's certainly not a rebel way, I don't think. I don't seem to recall the rebellion saying, every man for himself! Again, I'm thinking about using my rocket. I don't want to use a rocket. I don't have a rocket. It's a different freaking game mode. Get some power-ups and maybe do something good with them. Mother! Or not, or get killed as I'm trying to get them. Again, I'm wondering how nice this will look, and I'm thinking it'll be much nicer looking when we finally do get the final version. You can customize the characters, because right now it's just stormtroopers and rebels without a lot of variety between what we're seeing here. This is just to give you a chance to play the game modes, give EA a chance to see whether or not, or EA and DICE, a chance to figure out whether or not any of their modes are going to cause it to chug, and it's something that EA really needs to worry about, because EA is not exactly known for flawless launches of multiplayer games lately. They're kind of shitty in that regard in recent memory. So probably best for them to do something like that. There we go. 5 pods claimed by the enemy, none by our side. Wow. Well, it's also unbalanced, 5 versus 8, but whatever. Probably had some people drop out amidst the game. Alright, so again, it's an interesting mode. Nothing really new compared to what we see in other games. It's pretty to look at, but not really a story-driven type of thing. I'm really kind of hoping that some of these locations are going to get some depth in the story. I've just actually started reading Battlefront Twilight Company. I'm only a couple of chapters into this thing, just now getting to meet individual characters, including a stormtrooper that might be an interesting character as we see going forward. Probably will wind up being controversial, because damn near everything's controversial in Star Wars lately, unless it is a heterosexual character or a male human character. Otherwise, it's always a subject of controversy. Suffice to say, there is and turn away for the next, I'd say 10 seconds if you don't want to know, there is a female stormtrooper in this book that we meet very early on. I'm going to jump out here to Walker Assault, give you one more match. Again, long loading times, but I guess that's kind of to be expected, maybe, because of the size of the content. Some customization that we're seeing, hopefully more customization later aside from just the look, but in terms of the different cards and whatnot that you can get. Lots of different interesting game modes we might be able to play, but notice none of the game modes, based on their descriptions, do really seem to have any sense of, I mean, for lack of a better term, they don't have a sense of awe to me story-wise. They all feel like, here, Rebels versus Imperials, just go! Right. And with this being the first big Star Wars game that's just a Star Wars game of this console generation, I kind of expected more. I wanted more. As soon as they announced there wouldn't be a single-player campaign, I kind of knew there wasn't going to be more. And I've sort of, for lack of a better term, I've just kind of reconciled myself with that fact. But this is going to be one of those games that I'm going to jump into because it's Star Wars and enjoy it and play the different modes from time to time. Just jump in, play a little bit, jump out. But what's there to keep me playing? What's there to draw me in, aside from the buddies that I'm playing with that I can play other games like Destiny with? What is it that's going to make me want to keep coming back to this? Because I'm leveling up my character and getting new cards to use? That's going to get real old real fast. Where's the compulsion? Where is the thing that says, hey, here's this character, you want to see what happens next? Push you along. It's nowhere. You get much more story, I kid you not, out of Disney Infinity 3.0's Star Wars playsets than out of this. Those have a story. This doesn't. Again, those who say it can't happen in Battlefront, Elite Squadron and Renegade Squadron are there as counterpoints to that. Yes, you can have a story in a Battlefront game. EA simply chose, DICE chose, not to do that this time. Which, again, it's fine, but it's also something that is going to cause some Star Wars fans to pick this up enjoy. There's not enough to draw them in. Alright, so here we are with Walker Assault. Keep uplinks offline to stop the Rebel bombing raids, because I am the Empire apparently this time. Defend the AT-AT from Rebel attacks during bombing raids, and then if the AT-AT survives, you win. And this one appears to be almost at the end already. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Okay, I'm thinking of it as a Rebel. Alright. So I'm a snowtrooper now. ATST. Again, looks gorgeous, albeit, being that it's Hoth, it is a little bit more barren overall. There are long stretches of white snow where there's nothing else really there, and it's really difficult to see the enemy, which one would expect, depending on what they're actually wearing. This is about, I guess you'd say, like a minimum snipe distance here. I've seen shots from even further back than this kill someone, and that's frustrating. I mean, you can sort of see the players if you zoom in with a weapon that has a decent scope, but even then, you can be at a point where they look like that guy, where they look like ants. And you might still kill them, they might still kill you from so far away that, frankly, I think it's unrealistic. It's kind of frustrating. It's why, again, it seems like it would make sense to have some type of indicator that makes it easier to spot your enemies. Oh! Some kind of power-up. One other big thing that's different, aside from the shitty jumps, one other thing that's different in this game from what we saw in previous Battlefront games is that it's seamless movement between ground and air, so vehicle combat or ground-based vehicles and whatnot, as opposed to air-based vehicles. But you can't just run up to one and get in it. It doesn't work that way. Instead, the way that it winds up working is you have to find a power-up for the specific vehicle type. Like right there, there's a TIE Fighter power-up that I'm running towards here, assuming I don't die. Well, oh, I've still got the blaster one. And drop it. Okay. Alright, TIE Fighter. So if you don't find the correct power-up, you can't fly a ship. Like, you can run inside the Rebel base, and there's X-Wings all over the place, but you can't actually fly the X-Wing by running up to it and grabbing it the way that you used to be able to in previous Battlefront games. Instead, you're flying essentially whatever power-up you can find. And on this mode in particular, it is extremely dumb. My bad. This is why I don't fly, I just drive a car. It's extremely lopsided. It's very much realistic, I guess, based on the Battle of Hoth. The Empire, really, all that they need to do is get the walkers to the end, and they win. It's a fait accompli that they're going to win unless the rebels do something to change that. Very much like in the LCG, you've got the Death Star dial that's constantly growing and favoring the rebels. The issue here, basically, is that it's not clear, at least initially, in the beta. It's not clear what you're supposed to do as the Empire to actually, or excuse me, as the rebels to actually win. How do you bring down both AT-ATs? Because if even one of them survives, you lose. There you go. See, there's not an indicator until I'm actually over him. That's what I'm talking about. It'd be nice to have an indicator prior to that, so it's a little bit easier to see, even if it's just like a dot or something. Alright, so, there is a way to bring this down. There is a way to win this for the Rebellion. Saw one player do it by himself, essentially, on YouTube. I have yet to see the Rebels win a match when I'm playing. But basically, the Rebels need to get themselves to basically a T-47 airspeeder / snow speeder and take down the walkers that way, very much like in the movie. If you want to wait for the Y-Wings to damage the walkers and then try to bring them down just by blasting them, you can do that. But time is not on your side. Chances are you're not going to be able to pull that off. So you really kind of have to play movie style. I think that's something that'll become more obvious once the actual game is out and strategy guides and stuff like that come out and whatnot. But to start with, it isn't an obvious thing. So here we are having lots of people playing, but probably only a scant few know exactly what they're supposed to be actually doing. For the Empire, it's just a matter of going in and just, kill them, get to the whatchamacallit, the uplinks, and stop them from turning on, because the uplinks turning on is what calls down the Y-Wing bombers. Y-Wing bombers if they survive to attack the AT-ATs, will wind up causing them to be able to be damaged more easily, and then you can just pour on the fire from turrets and whatnot. And with a better option, though, being instead...
Keep the pressure on those rebels.
Checking for enemy. Nope, nope. The better option there being instead to actually grab the T-47s, to actually grab yourself an airspeeder. And you notice on my map, you can see all the little blue dots. Blue dots are friendly characters. Yellow is the so-called partner, whoever it's paired you up with if you haven't paired up with somebody. But no indicators there, really. No red dots or anything for the enemies. You just see that little sort of light red pie wedge indicating, for instance, this dude. Okay? So, again, it's just, it's odd. It's very, very odd to me. But it's not like that's something that they're going to fix. It's just something I'll just have to learn to live with as I play. Kind of like getting used to Destiny's little minimap. Destiny's minimap is also a little bit odd, but after a while, you get used to it. I would like to think this will be easier to get used to because it's at least somewhat like Destiny's, but not as straightforward, seemingly. The other thing I would say about this map I mentioned before, because of how big it is, notice that when I spawn not on a partner, I'm spending a lot of time just running back to where the action is happening. That's kind of frustrating. It depends on where the action is happening in terms of how much you have to run, but you could wind up running and running and running and running just to get back and die within seconds from somebody sniping you halfway across the map, maybe with a lucky shot.
Rebel troops entering the area.
I would definitely suggest playing with the partner, or at least making use of that partner spawning as much as possible. Because otherwise you're going to be on walker assault. At least you're going to be running a lot, doing absolutely nothing. Woo! That got blowed up.
We got blown up real good.
Now hoping to find a well, run this again and try to find a T-47 power-up so that you guys can actually see how a walker can potentially be brought down. I think that actually showed up in one of my previous matches, but we'll see. And I know, not trying to be as funny this time because it really is, I am trying to give you guys an overview of what we're expecting here of this game. I don't want there to be a bunch of people who are thinking like, Battlefront, it's Star Wars, awesome! Who wind up getting disappointed by the game because it is what it is. It is a multiplayer, throw them all together and let them kill each other shooter. Yes, you have different objectives from time to time, but generally that's all that this game is. That's it. Running back to the battle again. Oh, I hear a lightsaber. Thanks. Oh. Okay. Must be one of my guys or the partner. Whoa, whoa. Okay, must go kill them and shut it down. Notice that just that inexorable movement there on the top as the AT-ATs go from one checkpoint to the next checkpoint, working their way towards the final one. That was pretty sweet. Kind of surprised I didn't die, but, you know, whatever. How did he jump like... Oh, it must be a rocket pack. Like, what the heck? Got myself a personal shield here. But when you're in your personal shield, you can't shoot! So yeah, you can protect yourself, but you can't blast anybody. Makes sense. Kind of a liability to your team, depending on the situation. I wonder if I can take out a... Oh, it doesn't lock on. Yeah, I missed that one. You can lock on to enemies with the starfighter. You just can't lock on with the rocket launcher, apparently.
Rebel bombers are making their attack.
I would jump, except you can't. Uh-oh. There's Luke. There's been argument of whether or not this thing is actually going to wind up being within canon. Twilight Company will be within canon. I doubt there's really going to be anything within the game to even be considered canon. And let's face it, when you have things like, you know, Return of the Jedi era Luke fighting in the Battle of Hoth, it's pretty obvious that that's not meant to be canonical. Nope. Killed! Well, at least by somebody who's relatively close. I think it was. And lots and lots of running and running and running. And thank you, Blue Nova. I mean, this is kind of like the point of the stream here. It is what it is, you know? I mean, I don't see a lot of technical glitches aside from the stuttering sometimes. It looks gorgeous, except for the fact that Tatooine is pretty barren, and in this case, the landscape to some degree is barren in some directions, but let's face it, I mean, it's Hoth, it's supposed to be. To some degree, Tatooine is supposed to be. But I don't know, as visually gorgeous as it is, it still has these ridiculous, like in that case, ridiculous kill distances. Not really any indicator of enemies nearby. You don't have the little red dots showing up for the most part. All you got is that Destiny-style little mini-map kind of thing going on that's not as precise as Destiny's mini-map, and that does make it a little bit difficult. You're going to die a lot to random sniping or random shots that you didn't expect could possibly kill you, and you have no idea the enemy is there in the first place. It's very much a game that's based on run, do what you can, die. Run, do what you can, die. Run, do what you can, die. Over and over and over again, with really no story content to speak of. For those who love playing a whole lot of like online multiplayer, I think they're really going to get a kick out of it if that's what you play all the time. But just from the standpoint of it being, you know, something that's going to be compelling beyond the first few hours of gameplay, I don't know. I'm somewhat doubtful. Do I feel it's Battlefront? You know, having played the previous Battlefront games, it feels Battlefront in style, but in execution, not so much. I mean, the game modes are very different, but more varied than what we saw before. There is no story. Again, as I've mentioned, yes, Battlefront is not necessarily hugely story-driven for the consoles, but we had the PSP versions, the DS Elite Squadron version, even the different scenarios to go with some of the battles in the previous two console games at least had some sense of continuity to them, some sense of, you know, this is taking place at this time and you're living out a part of Star Wars history. And in this case, it really feels much more like we got some battle modes, we need to throw some Star Wars characters into it, but that's about it. As Luke Skywalker's about to kick my ever-loving ass. Oh, and he didn't. Somebody that I can't even see on the screen, far off behind that turret, managed to kill me. So again, sight lines are kind of ridiculous here. In any event, kind of need to do one run of this thing with Rebels soon, so we can see if I can grab one of those T-47s and show you guys how it actually works to try to bring down a walker. Come on. Oh, dang it. I keep doing that. I keep going up to where I've already... where there's a power-up, but I've already got a power-up on me. Alright, so see, the Y-Wings come in, they're blasting. There's your T-47 whipping around. If he can fire a tow cable, it'll work like in the movie. You wrap yourself around, bring it down. I did do that in the previous stream. Again, you can't do that here at the Empire. So the Empire is the AT-ATs are all the way basically to the end. They just need to survive just a tiny bit more. Notice that the health of the two AT-ATs up at the top, neither of them got below half. So unless you got somebody on the Rebel side who knows how to use the snow speeders, winning this as the Rebels is virtually impossible. It is extremely, extremely unbalanced as a game mode. It's kind of cool that it's 20 on 20 at maximum. It's 40 players at once. Still not quite as big as the largest game mode on, say, something like Defiance, but still pretty sweet for a Star Wars game. Let's see if this throws me in on the Rebel side, and maybe, just maybe, before the stream is over here, I can grab a T-47 and maybe get close enough to the walkers to show you that tow cable action all at once. Yeah, I'm already maxed up at rank 5, so it's not going to do anything but give me credits for what I've got here. Thank you for playing the beta of Star Wars TM Battlefront TM. Again, could have made those a little bit smaller. You look kind of like a corporate douchebag with those, but it's probably a legal thing involved there. Okay, now, Rebels. Match starting in 16, 15, 14. And of course, they need to tell you S, period, right? They should tell you seconds, but match starting in 9S, 8S, and so on and so on. Why have the S at all? Why not just say seconds or not put one at all? Alright, again, so now, Rebel side. Same armaments, because I'm using the same cards. Notice there's a little symbol out there of the X-Wing that looks like other dude here is running towards. Notice that little bit of a stutter. Stutter is kind of frustrating. But I think it's because I'm streaming on the HD level here. And actually, I wonder if this one's going to wind up stuttering quite a bit. They're making tweaks to improve the balance so the Rebels have a better chance of winning. That's good. Even something as simple as making it a little bit less health for the AT-ATs would work. Just something that's going to make it so that it doesn't feel like it's a completely one-sided match. But if they are trying to really simulate the Battle of Hoth, I mean, the Battle of Hoth was basically a holding action. They were just trying to buy time for the Rebels to escape. Nobody actually expected on the Rebel side to be able to survive the Battle of Hoth as the victors. They just wanted to get the hell out of there. That's one thing that this game does a very good job with atmospherically. It really makes you feel like the Battle of Hoth is hopeless if you're a Rebel. Though, if it's a multiplayer game, you would think that they would try to make it so that each side at least sort of feels like they have a chance of winning. Alright. X-Wing time. Do you have proton torpedoes? Whee! One thing I haven't been able to do yet, I have yet to be able to get actually inside an AT-AT. Oh, God, I'm on my butt! There we go. Something that doesn't quite control the same as the previous Battlefront with the vehicles. Whoa! Alright. And still another X-Wing. Still have not seen a T-47 power up.
Y-wing tracking signal initialized.
X-Wings get that cool little animation. The other ones don't really get that kind of animation, but whatever. Oh! Did that guy just shoot down an X-Wing that then crashed through me? If so, that was pretty nice. Mother! And another X-Wing power-up out there. Okay, you see that? That's exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to the ridiculous kill distances. It doesn't seem like there's any fall-off damage issues on this. You can shoot from anywhere and it'll have the same powers if you're standing right next to them. That's an issue. Especially given that these are all, you know, blaster-style weapons. You can tweak it. It doesn't have to feel real because there's no such thing as a real weapon of this type. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. It's fun for now, but like I said, I think I'm going to wind up playing this just enough. You know, I'll play it in small batches, but it's not going to be something that I'm spending a whole lot of time with. I'll stream it because that's what the audience is probably looking for the podcast and everything, and I'll stream it just to kind of get myself oriented to the process. Bye-bye. But just from the standpoint of something I'm really going to want to invest a ton of time in, what is there to draw me back? Very little. It's the same gameplay over and over and over again. After a while, you're going to have played the same mode so many times that there's just nothing to do. There's no quests. There's no single-player campaign. It doesn't seem like there are any modes that have sort of a broader community aspect, something like Faction War in Mortal Kombat X. Anything like that. It seems like it's much more just throw them in, let them kill, and we're done. Which is unfortunate. I mean, they're dealing with a great IP here, and they've created a game that is essentially interchangeable in terms of the experience in many respects, aside from the skins of the characters and the sound effects and music, right? But from a gameplay perspective, this game is interchangeable with virtually any other modern multiplayer shooter. There's just nothing that screams, I need to play this game, I need to buy this game. Hopefully the Battle of Jakku, when that finally gets released, will give us at least a little bit of content that will feel has a purpose, that it's more than just get in there and just kill and constantly die from far away. But for now, I'm torn. I'm very, very impressed by the graphics. I am very impressed by the sound work, very authentic, but that is to be expected in pretty much any Star Wars game. I think it is fun in short bursts. I'm going to be picking up the deluxe version, but how long am I going to play? It is not the Star Wars game that I personally would have chosen to really be the kickoff for specific Star Wars games for this generation. It just isn't. Disney Infinity 3.0 manages to sort of pull that off, but that's not canonical either, right? You got Han, Luke, and all of them aboard the Tantive 4 at the beginning of A New Hope in Disney Infinity. You've got kind of some screwy continuity going on there with when Darth Maul is known to the heroes and so forth. Yeah, focus on your blasters, because it's not going to do jack. Excellent. Still looking for a T-47. Probably not going to find one. Although, get the crashed X-Wing that looks really sweet here. Nope. Just run around looking for a T-47 for a moment while this wraps up. I mean, one of them's a little bit down. Not quite at half. Yeah. Killed, at least from somewhat behind. Yeah, PlayStation Silver headsets. The blue waffle pattern really irritates my ears after a while. I will have, by the time this actually comes out, I'll have the Sand Trooper Turtle Beach set, that limited edition set, to stream with. But for now, PlayStation Silver. Stuck on the ground. Come on, kill me with an AT-AT. You do it? Nah, AT-ST. Close. AT-ST that was apparently walking and pointing the other direction. But, you know. Ah! No! Dead before I could get to the A-Wing. Some of these at least are legitimate kills. It's not being killed from across the screen. Then again, spawning me right in front of guys that are killing, as if there's very many places you could spawn where that's not happening. Ah! Oh, shit! Yeah, I didn't even get killed by Vader. Got killed by one of his flunkies. Mother.
We've lost The uplink signal. Reactivate it.
Yeah, I really do hope that split screen is going to be something that's a lot more amusing. Gotta convince my wife to actually play the game here, though. She hates twin stick shooters. So, being that this is a twin stick shooter, it probably is not going to happen. But she might give it a try every great once in a while. Come on, T-47 power up somewhere. Right now I'm just running around like a fool.
We need to reactivate it.
I would assume there may be specific places that they are supposed to always spawn or be more likely to spawn, but of course, with this being the beta, it's not something where that information is available in the guide or anything. That's another thing I'm picking up, the limited edition guide of it. For something that, you know, looks great, will be fun in spurts, but doesn't, to me, feel like it's going to have the kind of staying power that it should have, I do seem to be like I'm going to be dropping a significant amount of cash on it. But still, between the limited edition guide and the deluxe edition of the game, I don't think I'm going to wind up spending as much as I have spent on, again, something like Destiny.
Y-wing tracking signal
That
initialized.
game is the one that really right now has most of my attention. Even though I've got other games that I really should be playing. To get them out of my queue, so to speak. Well, I've been alive for a while. That's good. I can't seem to find a T-47 power-up, and I keep having jumping issues. Da-da-da. Power up, hello. It's gonna take some getting used to, definitely. Running for no reason. Where are the damn power-ups? Doesn't seem like there are any over in this general vicinity. So I guess I'll run back in. Get killed a few more times. That was a decent jump, of course. Had to be running off a hill to do it. Alright, Y-wings are on the way in. Yeah, I've tried the Old Republic, but I'm not much of a PC gamer, so most of my summarizing for the Star Wars Timeline Gold has been watching full campaign videos and whatnot. Now that I actually have a computer that is good enough to actually play it, I haven't really taken the time to get back into it. What? There we go. Not sure why he exploded, but whatever. Killed from logging away, okay, as usual. Still not seeing power-ups for a T-47. Up, at least though, if I can get it, nope, that would have given me loot. But the ATST had apparently a different idea. That is one other thing, it doesn't seem like the getting the hero power-ups is something that works quite the same as in the previous Battlefront games, but at least they're there. Right? At least you have the ability to do that. And there are modes designed specifically around being able to use the heroes. Killed from where? Yes, yes, because he was certainly facing my direction when he blasted me. Absolutely. And power-ups probably could stand to be a little easier to spot. Or some indicator on a map that's going to tell you where they are. Now, a lot of my issues with the actual gameplay itself tend to be visual. Now, give us some other types of indicators. There's a T-47. If I can get to it without dying. Oh, and I had the frickin' rocket already on. I keep doing that. You cannot run over a power-up and get a new power-up if you've already got a frickin' power-up. And now I have no... There it is. Get it! Except if you get it, frickin' do what you're supposed to do with it. Don't be a moron. Please. Not sure where he came from, but whatever.
Bomber targeting systems locked in.
Yeah, you had to earn the power-up for a hero in the old ones, and then as you're playing, if you didn't keep basically contributing and keep killing the enemy, you would run out and it would disappear on you. Whereas in this case, it's a power-up you just grab, you activate like any other power-up, and it seems to stay on until you die, and as soon as you die, it's gone. It's like they're trying to keep some of the themes of the original Battlefront games, but in many ways just kind of taking their own formula of multiplayer shooter and running with it to make this new game. Oh, he got blown up as he grabbed it. Wonderful. At least we know it often appears there, apparently. Well, may not get a chance to show you guys that before this match ends and I head to... We are on the last day of the beta. Well, the last full day of the beta. Extended until tomorrow, but they haven't said exactly what time the beta will end. Running, running, running. Looking for the power-up again. Y-Wings coming in. Notice the Y-Wings apparently seem to be coming in when those dots are reached. So however many uplinks they're able to get up determines how many Y-Wings are coming in at those points. And then shoot them! Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Where is AT-47? There we go. Guys, why isn't somebody grab... Oh! And it disappeared. The power-up disappeared as I ran towards it. Wonderful. Not sure if it's supposed to do that or not. And the rebels lose. Again, the fait accompli unless somebody grabs a T-47, who knows what the hell to do with it. Which again, at least you get points and you get to level up still, even if the other side wins. Alright folks, so just in general, last thoughts on this thing. I look forward to it to a degree. I'm not extremely excited about it. I would love for there to be story content, but there isn't any. If you want story content, you got to pick up Battlefront Twilight Company when it finally hits shelves early in next month. There have been Battlefront games with story. Elite Squadron, Renegade Squadron, they didn't decide to do it with this one. Lots of different game modes, seemingly Star Wars sort of reskinned on top of other multiplayer game modes we've seen in other games before. Don't expect much in the way of story. Expect great graphics in terms of it being very visually and stylistically looking like Star Wars. Great sound, great music design. Now, certainly the best looking Star Wars game that we have ever seen. But very, 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 very shallow. This is an extremely shallow experience for those who are wanting a new Star Wars game. But for now, it's all we've got. If you want to get some extra goodies initially when it comes out, pick up the deluxe edition. It is $20 more, $10 more than the regular edition. Pre-ordering does get you the Battle of Jakku a week early, but then everybody else is going to get it a week later, and they'll be getting it for free. Battle of Jakku will be a free update to the game to set up things heading into The Force Awakens. And yes, there are going to be strategy guides for this. There's a regular one, and there is a limited edition one. If you are wanting to pick up new headsets, there are two that are coming out to tie into this. In October, we have the Rebel Alliance, or I guess Resistance, X-Wing pilot set from Turtle Beach with sort of leather earpieces. And then you have the limited edition Sand Trooper ones, the ones I'm going to be picking up that have the changeable earpieces and whatnot, have a little bit more comfortable ear pads, and have the removable, the removable microphone on them. So they are really sort of pushing this thing. A tie-in novel by Alexander Freed, his first novel, I believe. We know him from things like The Old Republic, Lost Sons, and his work in video games. But, I don't know. I mean, a big marketing push for this, and it's huge that this is the first new Star Wars game coming out outside of Disney Infinity stuff for the new consoles and all. But is this really what they should be leading with? Personally, I think something from Visceral that's more story-based is probably going to be something that's really going to take things by storm. This will get a lot of sales. It's multiplayer. It's Call of Star Wars. It's Star Wars of Duty, more or less. Or it's Battlefield/Star Wars as opposed to Battlefront, which is DICE's other game series here. I don't know. I'm I'm excited to stream it. I'm excited to have the conversations while playing the game with people like Bobby Craig, people like Michael Morris, people like Caleb Furlow, people like Indiana Jim Perry from the Adventures of Indiana Jim, and Codename Starkeeper, to bring on some of these Star Wars podcast community members to really get a chance to discuss the game while we play it and give you guys some new content here on the feed, aside from the Fantasy Flight Games reviews, from the Star Wars Home Video Library stuff, and all the different things that you see here on this YouTube channel. But the game itself leaves me feeling very flat, for lack of a better term. It's not, it's a new Star Wars game. It's more of it's a new Star Wars game. Oh. That pretty much says it all, I suppose. All right, folks, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully the future streams will be a little less informative, more fun than this one was. Just designed to give you those final thoughts now that the beta is ending. And I will catch you soon with further streams, particularly when Battlefront comes out, but perhaps even some Disney Infinity stuff as we go along. Just depends on what you let me know you are most interested in seeing here. Understand that it is streaming from a PS4, so if it's a PS4 game and I've got it, be happy to jump on and stream a little bit for you. Thanks for watching, guys. Now here's me slowly turning it off, trying to turn it off. There we go. See you guys.